It's been 100 years since they disappeared. Equestria sent into turmoil. Friendships falling, rude remarks instead of kind hellos. Everything seems to be falling apart as the two princesses stand by helplessly. Without the elements or proper bearers, who knows if anything will change? Little did they know, change would come, but not the kind they hoped for. Chrysalis, queen of the unreformed changelings, has been finalizing her plan for her ultimate revenge against Equestria. Before, it was only directed at Starlight, but after recent events, she had other ideas. Her first two attempts were pitiful failures. Her misjudgment of others hindered her twicefold. This time, everything would be different. She could not possibly take on her new plan alone, for it is a plan too large for one. In order for her plan to succeed, she will need the help of the bravest, strongest, most powerful and influential beings she could find, each with a reason to fight, who also bore hatred for those beloved princesses. Queen Alvaria the Driders, Queen Niravera the Bat Ponies, Dr. Philiter, a business pony dealing in the shadows, King Samra, the Dark King, T-Rex, a power-hungry centaur, Discord, god of chaos, King Fortis Dux of the Cardazoans, and Nightmare Moon, self-imposed ruler of the night skies. With this band of villains, opportunists, and leaders, nothing will stop her from not only taking Equestria, but the world.
Hello! I'm Pretty Pegasus Wings.
And I'm VChart 920.
What you saw was a teaser for our future audio play, Conquest.
But we can't do it alone. There's a lot to this idea of ours, and we'll need a good team to assist us.
If this sounds interesting to you and would like to help, we'd love to have you try out for any of the positions available.
We're looking for the following: voice actors, artists, sound editors, or people who can help us find or create sounds, and possibly a composer or someone who is good at finding good, appropriate music tracks.
Everything you'll need to know is in the Google Doc below, but we're going to explain a few things here. If you want to pause and read the doc, go right ahead, or stay and read it after. The document does go into more detail and contains everything we're about to shorthand.
Before we cover a few things, we want to let you know this is a big project. These scripts are long, and we expect everyone who auditions to have every intention to be dedicated and to send everything in on time. We have a zero-tolerance policy for those who can't commit. Dropping out without a good cause is unacceptable. Do not audition unless you know you can be dedicated. We are willing to make accommodations for those in school or with demanding jobs. Following the rules and instructions in the doc are necessary if you want your audition to count, so please read them. Once you're chosen and all is set, production will begin, so be prepared to start as soon as possible.
Starting with the VAs, we are looking for VAs not only for canon characters, but OCs as well. We have provided some descriptions and voice clips to help you figure out what we want. You don't have to follow the voice clip completely. In fact, it's sort of preferred you don't, depending on who. And you can always try a different voice from what we described, along with the one we did. If you want to give it a shot, you may like it better. I'd say you can do up to 3 separate voices for OC auditions if you want. Another important thing to note is that there are battle scenes, so we want you to be ready to do grunts, screams, and so on. Don't worry if you don't know how. We'll be here to direct you as best we can. On the topic of acting, don't worry if you can't sound like a canon character. We are looking for actors, not impressionists, but sounding like the character is still a part of it. If we see you have potential, we may take you and give you coaching, so don't worry if you lack experience. All you need is a relatively good mic. No laptop or potato mics, please, unless you can clean it to sound better. Pop control is a must. We listed ways to avoid popping in the doc below if need be. Lastly, this story contains a lot of mature and sometimes graphic material. Some characters, for this reason, can only be voiced by people 18 and older, as well as the characters they get into relationships with if they do. Please keep this in mind when auditioning. We'd say the age limit for this project is 16 for this reason. If we find out you are younger at any point, even if you are accepted, you will be disqualified or kicked out immediately. Your line scrapped. We're trusting you to be honest. There may be exceptions, but this is highly dependent on how close you are to turning 16. People assigned major characters are expected to send in their lines within 2 months, supporting a minor within 1.
For artists, we expect you to have a basic understanding of anatomy. We're not looking for anything flashy. We only want the images to look good and to have a base standard of quality. So no overly shaky lines, no odd coloring jobs, no off proportions which are clearly from lack of knowing the style. You get the idea. You will be expected to draw a minimum of 3 to 5 images per episode. Scenes can sometimes contain 1 to 2 pictures, so you may be asked to take on more than one scene. We've done our best to limit the amount of pictures needed for each scene down to the bare minimum, so you won't be overwhelmed or overworked. If you can take on more, it'd be great. If not, it's perfectly fine. Send us a minimum of 3 to a maximum of 5 of your most recent art pieces. This project will require you to be able to draw ponies and horses mainly, but there will be several other creatures that will need to be drawn. Your chances of being picked will increase if you send us examples showing you can draw other creatures like draconici, centaurs, griffins, and especially lion's manes. We'd also love to see some fight scenes if you have any. If you can only draw backgrounds, this works. If you can't draw backgrounds, it's also fine. We'll take either and work from there. We will only be accepting digital art unless your traditional art can be scanned cleanly and is colored well. Artists are expected to turn in their work within 2 months or 3, depending on circumstances.
On to those who want or can help with sound. At best, we would like someone who can actually help make sounds for the project, or even knows how to combine sounds to make what we need. There are going to be battle scenes, and we are going to need things from chains rattling to sword slashing, from the sound of a spear ramming into flesh to blood splattering, and, of course, magic. There will also be basic sound effects like walking and running and doors opening and closing. If you're good at finding sound effects we need, it'd be great. We are going to be somewhat flexible here and in the next one. To audition, send a reel and example of your work. If you have anything with fighting noises and or magic effects, it would be great. Feel free to tell us a bit about your work or what you've done in the email. We will talk during the editing when it comes time.
Finally, the composer or someone who can help us find music. We're not asking for much. We only need someone who can make or find some instrumentals and music which fit within the world and time. No electric or dubstep, nothing screeching, simply some instrumentals and orchestrals. Simply think of what you'd hear in the show, but more mature. Send in examples of your work if you have composed anything to audition. For fitting music, send links for the following descriptions. Foreboding, intense, setting, not too intense to the point it's overwhelming, nor anything meant to scare, more to build tension. A big battle scene, action is high, stakes are rising. A calm scene of 2 characters talking casually, a kind of setting, relaxed.
There are some rules we have for each section mentioned in the Google Doc, which we will expect you to read. If you miss a rule, your audition will no longer qualify, so please make sure you've read everything. All auditions must be sent to mlpempireproductions@gmail.com with the subject VA Artist Sound Composer, depending on which one you're auditioning for, Conquest Audition. For VAs, label your files like so: the name you will be credited by, the character you are auditioning for, and MLP Conquest. If you are trying different voices for the same character, keep them in separate files labeled as such. Your name, character version 1, 2, or 3, and then MLP Conquest.
That's all we have to say on that. On to the characters who you can audition for. For the canon female characters, we have Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, and Nightmare Moon. For the OCs, we have Queen Evlaria, Queen Neravera, and Autumn.
For canon male characters, we have King Sombra, Lord Tirek, and Discord. For the OCs, we have Dr. Philiter, Steward, the Gargoyles, Barrack, Girth, and Lix, King Fortistux I, King Fortistux II, Grizskull, and Snickety.
There will be many more casting calls in the future, since this audio drama will have lots of characters. So if you don't get in this time, there will be plenty of opportunities later on. You're more than welcome to try for as many characters as you please, but we are limiting the major characters to 1 per person, with 1 or 2 supportings if we feel they fit, and about 2 to 3 per person in general. There's a chance you will be multicasted if we choose you, so keep this in mind when auditioning. We may even ask you to try another character or more if we find your voice would be more fitting for someone else.
The end date is the 12th of July, so be sure to have your auditions done and ready by then.
Thank you for those who took the time to listen, and a bigger thank you to those who audition. We wish you all the best of luck and look forward to working with you in the future.